I'm Karima Brown. It's Sunday morning and it's time for The Fix. In the hot seat today is Transport Minister Blade Nzimande, who admitted that the PRASA turnaround strategy did not work. Then we focus on the business of empowerment and whether it has yielded the desired outcomes. And as is custom, we take a look at our weekend newspapers to see what's made headlines this week and why. The Fix starts now. This is The Fix, where every Sunday, without fear or favour, we question the big role players. We will look ahead and tell you what matters, how it affects you, and why you should care. And as usual, I'm joined in the studio by my sparring partner, Sunday Times and Business Day columnist, Peter Bruce. Peter, a heavy week in politics. Book burning?
No, look, it's getting, the closer you get to the election, the more sort of violent and intense it all becomes. We'll get to the book burning in a moment, but Robert McBride's testimony at Zondo Commission is really important because it shifts the whole thing now from being a story about capture of businesses to actual capture of the state itself.
And the most important part, the criminal justice system.
Yeah. Absolutely. You were there. What stood out for you?
There were two things that stood out for me. The one was the behavior of Minister Nathi Nhleko, who was the police minister, who fired General Anwar Dramat, the head of the Hawks, based on a preliminary report, because IPID actually said that there is no case against McBride. Rather, there's no case against Anwar Dramat. So Nathi Nhleko has a lot to answer for. But this was what was so interesting for me, Peter. McBride was saying the culture in the police is one of covering up. He, for example, tried to get a logbook of whether a police car was used in the committing of a crime. And do you know what the police did? They classified the logbook. Now, if they can do that, you can imagine how difficult. Exactly.
It must be very difficult if you're in the state trying to fix it now, and the officials that are meant to help you do that hide things away from you, or lie to you, or tell you things to make you look in the wrong direction.
Absolutely, and the minister basically ignores you and acts on information without the necessary evidence. That was the essential thing. Peter Louis Marburg's book, excellent. You've got a copy, I've got a copy. Ysma Khashile wants people to burn the book, even though he said he's not associated with it. But his supporters certainly were well organized and came to the launch. And of course,
what happened was absolutely disgraceful, and it does a couple of things. It gives the book huge publicity, which it richly deserves. He's worked, I think, on his own for about a year or more on this project, without. I think he left his job to write it. And it will do, I think, for Ysma Khashile what the President's Keepers did for Jacques Pauw's book, did for Jacob Zuma. It will ease the way. It will prepare the way for him to be taken out of office. I've no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
So Ramaphosa, 2 days later, went to open the ANC's political school. And made a speech about freedom of speech. And where the ANC stood. And Magashule was in the room, and he was absolutely unequivalent about what a disgraceful thing had happened in Magashule's name. I think halfway through the speech, Jacob Zuma walked in as well, and so it must have been quite awkward. But at least he stood up and made it clear that it was unacceptable. And apparently, the room was full of NEC members. The NEC, just as it can recall a president, I can assume can recall a Secretary General.
Absolutely. And what is more important is, in the statement where Ysma Khashile says that he doesn't condone what is being done in his name, they talk about court processes and that he's going to be taking Peter Louis Marburg to court.
You'll never take him to court.
Exactly. Peter Louis Marburg is on record to me and to other broadcasters and journalists that he hasn't received a single paper. I think the last place ACE wants to be is a court of law.
No, it would be complete madness. It applies to most of the politicians.
Absolutely.
He will have to go following this book now. Inevitable subpoena to the Zondo Commission.
And you made the point that Peter Louis Marburg took off a year to do this book. He's got forensic evidence, he's got statements. Carl Cohen did a fantastic story as a follow-up.
It's lovely stuff.
Where they actually found ACE's ID number linking him to Sahara. way before he even became Premier. I think he was MEC of Sport or Agriculture or something like that. But the key thing is, of course, that Shamila Batoye's office is yet to answer us on where we are with, you know, people being prosecuted.
No, well, I mean, I really wish, I hope, you know, I don't want to be a critic of hers, and I just hope that she gets herself very quickly to the position before the election where she can tell South Africans, take South Africans into her confidence. What is going on, what she's doing. She's made a couple of appointments, they're good. She's about to appoint an investigating director, which will be fantastic. Apparently a woman from Cape Town with a very good record. She's just got to get on with it and do it, you know, because all of these things, you know, we want South Africa to calm down.
Yes.
and in the absence of information, people don't calm down. They get more and more hysterical.
Absolutely.
And just some information would just help everything, you know.
What we did manage to find out through her spokesperson is that she has made her selection and she submitted the names through the Justice Minister, because that's the process. And now it's actually up to Cyril Ramaphosa to appoint this director. Right. So the President actually needs to tell us really quickly and fast when he's going to appoint it. Shamila's done her bit. The rest now falls on him. So that's really important. The other story...
My understanding of it, though, if you read the Act, was he doesn't have to announce the appointment of it. She does. He just has to approve it. He just has to send a letter back saying that's fine.
Well, she's saying that she's sent the names and she's waiting for him to make the move. And of course, he's been on the campaign trail and he has to run the country.
Well, I think, you know, President Ramaphosa, pick up the damn phone and call Shamila Batoye and tell her to get on with it.
Absolutely. The other thing that was interesting is the PIC Commission. I mean, we had a witness who basically destroyed Dr. Iqbal Survey's evidence. And more importantly, implicated him in bribery. And now we have the, and of course, shortly after that, the share price of AO just kind of took a nosedive. And now we have a formal investigation ordered by the JSE, pretty much like they did with OakBay.
How long can he keep control of the empire that he's built on these loans from the PRC and the Chinese? I mean, how long can he hold on to independent newspapers? Because that's his calling card, isn't it?
Yes, no, absolutely. And I think that the big issue is that he actually admitted that he's now funding independent media and that they wanted to buy the stake of the PIC from them because they haven't really serviced that loan. They made one initial payment, and since then they actually haven't serviced that loan at all.
I mean, but that would amount to hundreds of millions of rands by now.
Hundreds of millions of rand. And what was...
And how come? So how does he get away with not paying his debts?
I think the big thing is the recommendations, and if you look at the behavior of Judge Lex Mpati and, of course, also Jill Marcus, they're not taking any nonsense. They remind me very much of the Nugent Commission of Inquiry, and you can already see action as a consequence of what comes out at the Commission. So, for example, the investigation into AO by the JSE is as a result, direct result of evidence that is coming out from the Commission. So I think your question will be answered quite soon, Peter.
Well, I think that'd be nice to know. I mean, you know, newspapers are and it's my great love in life, and I hate to see them being run down the way they've been in Cape Town and Durban. The way it has. And
it's a large empire. It's 24 newspapers that we're talking about.
No, it's a big
deal. Absolutely. After the break, we hear from the Transport Minister, Blade Nzimande, on the PRASA turnaround strategy. Don't go anywhere.